Okay, we can start up again. I will say good afternoon and good to see you. I wish welcome also to those watching on TV, web TV. I also will express my gratitude to Media Center for hosting us. It has been a pleasure being here. I've been here twice before. The introduction for this lecture will be rather long because it has to do with the audience here that this lecture was meant for. The younger generation, students, university students or high school students. They don't know so much about this matter. So it's good to go a little bit back and recapitulate the things that happened 20 years ago. Our logo, as you see, reflects that there is no time to lose. 20 years has passed and we cannot lose more time to find the missing people we are looking for. There are relatives, family looking for them. It shouldn't have been me standing here doing this lecture. It should have been teachers from high schools, teachers from the university. But it's like that I'm doing this solely because no one else is doing this type of lectures, at least in the educational system here in Serbia. So you need to tell the whole truth about some parts of the history in Kosovo. If you are going to understand the total pictures of what happened. So the history in Kosovo for the 98-99 is crucial for understanding the situation today. Having said that, I will emphasize that the school teachers and professors at the universities, they cannot be blamed for this situation. It depends solely on the authorities and the Minister of Education. They are those who is setting up the curriculum for the schools and university. For those who don't know me, I will give a brief insight into my past. I'm Norwegian, and as you see here, from the flag behind me, I'm 77 years old, and instead of standing here, I should be enjoying my retirement. I myself have been educated in the military, been there for 17 years, and I left when I was 37 in 1978, holding the rank of a major. The next 6 years, I was operating manager for a company dealing with graphics, paper production, and office supplies. Then I became an independent consultant for the next years. I was within logistics. I was serving the church educational center, or as we say in Norway, Institute for Christian Upbringing. And in addition to private banks that I worked for. In 1989, I was hired by the Central Bank of Norway as assistant head of division and served there for 9 years. And at age of 57, I qualified for an early retirement scheme in March 1998. Now to the topics. I have 3 topics I will go through. One is the still missing victims of the war in Kosovo, 98-99. 2, the missing details of Serbia's contemporary history. And 3, a new documentary called The Unidentified. This figure here, it comes from Humanitarian Law Center. They presented last year their documentation here on this location. The chart is divided into 2 parts. The upper part contains time periods, 4 different time periods, where the different killings took place of civilians and military or police or paramilitary. Humanitarian Law Center, they registered all killed in Kosovo. The lower part is added by me, and I have divided it into ethnic groups and kept civilian and military and police separate. So, as you see from the lower part of this picture, you will see that the total major part of victims in Kosovo was civilian Albanians. My registration is around 10,600. This presentation from Humanitarian Law Centers, they operate with 9,000. And then in addition, we have Serbs, 1,400, and Roma people that were died. The least part of the killed people is the military police concerning that conflict in Kosovo. They lost the fewest members of their organizations. UNMIK in Kosovo. UNMIK stands for United Nations Mission in Kosovo. And the UN in New York had done nothing to document these things that I have been talking about there. Neither did the former Yugoslavian, under President Vojislav Koštunica, who in fact initiated a commission of truth and reconciliation in Kosovo in 2001. And it should last for 3 years, and the report should have been given in 2004. As far as it is known, the Commission never conducted any interviews, held any hearings, or filed any reports concerning this Commission for Yugoslavia. So, in my opinion, nothing can justify the slaughter of 10,600 unarmed civilians, children, women, and men over a period of 18 months, and the expulsion of 2/3 of the Albanian population out of Kosovo. My hope is that this lecture over time will result in locating the whereabouts of the still missing victims of the war, so that thousands of family members finally can find rest and have a grave to visit. I also hope that this lecture can reach the younger generation, since, in my opinion, they have been deprived their right to know everything about their country's contemporary history, especially the period of 1998-2000 in Kosovo. In life, it's like that. If you don't know the full truth of any particular story, issue in life, then you will have problems drawing the appropriate conclusions. Some of you young people will eventually become politicians in leading positions, or prominent businessmen. So knowing the full truth about your contemporary history is going to help you make the right decision later on. I have already given lectures here twice in this room. I talked about matters related to Kosovo and Serbia. First time was in 2015, and the second time in 2016. I talked about the first time what really happened in Kosovo, my documentation of what took place there. And then in 2016, I looked into how to proceed from there. When you know what took place, how to proceed, find a way to reconciliation and forgiveness can develop between Serbia and Kosovo. I think that the younger generation, both in Kosovo and Serbia today, have a unique chance to impact their societies in a profound way by personal engagement. The youth today, they possess a flow of information from different sources, which they can digest individually and make up their mind about certain matters. Only 20 years ago, this flow of information was not available, and one had to rely on others in all matters in life, including politics. The people in the Balkans, in the former republics of Yugoslavia, used to work together without major problems, both before and after the Second World War. And they did well compared with the rest of Europe. For this reason, Yugoslavia was a respected country. Up to the 1990s, Yugoslav citizens traveled without restrictions on their passports, and people could choose where to live and where to work, inland or abroad. After Tito's death in 1981, the political attitudes among leading politicians in Yugoslavia changed dramatically, which ultimately led to the breakdown of Yugoslavia. Today, the younger generation in the Balkans has to find back to this special skills in politics, where differences between people or countries or people can be dissolved by negotiations and mutual compromises. If the younger generation can rediscover these special, unique skills in politics, the area of the former Yugoslavia will prosper again. That's my belief. I think there will be no problem too difficult among the ethnic groups that couldn't be solved by cooperation and finding a middle ground. Now I will look into the time when I started up in Kosovo in 1999, summer 1999. I was hired in by United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees. They're called UNHCR. And the Norwegian Church Aid, NCA, to coordinate an emergency program called Removal of Dead Bodies from Wells all over Kosovo. The program lasted for 8 months, and 127 Albanians were found in wells and rivers. Part of my job was to have these victims identified, registered, and buried. At the time, I didn't know what this later would lead to. The discovery of 400 mass graves containing the bodies of 10,600 civilian, Albanian, children, women, and men. It's amazing. This is a map that was made in June 1999 by the British KFOR. All these places, there were located mass graves. And later on, the same year, in 1999, they started to dig up those people buried there in those mass graves. And it took years to do that job. What was actually happening from early 98 to June 99 is going to surprise you. And it's beyond your imagination. Milosevic regime, backed by Yugoslavian military units, Serbian police, and civil militia, or paramilitary groups, started a rampage over most part of Kosovo, where people were picked randomly and killed. At least it looked like that in the beginning, when this started up, this rampage. But as months passed by, planned state terror actions took form. And Albanian citizens were forced to leave their homes in the villages because of military artillery shelling. Added to this military actions with shelling of the villages, the military units, police and paramilitary troops forced fleeing Albanians alongside the roads southward out of Kosovo. Scenarios like this were described by witnesses in the court proceedings in Hague, the tribunal in Hague, and became a major part of the indictment against Milosevic's regime in Kosovo. When I came to Belgrade the first time in 2013 and started to talk with people, I met young people and students who didn't know much about the events that took place in Kosovo in 1998-99. Conveniently, they were told by the Milosevic regime that Albanians created problems in Kosovo, and therefore it was necessary to use military force. Consequently, people I talked to, they didn't know the reason behind the NATO airstrikes that started the 24th of March 1999 and were aimed at specific targets in Kosovo, Serbia and Montenegro. They were told a story by Milosevic's regime that had no connections whatsoever with reality. I realized then that my main job in Belgrade had to be informing the public about what really happened in Kosovo and bringing up the issue of reconciliation and forgiveness. In order to achieve progress in the process of reconciliation, however, most of the still missing 1,669 people have to be found. I took on the job documenting the 400 mass graves and the 10,600 victims back in 2006. It was a voluntary job on my side. UNMIC and UN in New York, up to the summer of 2006, had not taken any actions to secure and compile documentations available from UNMIC itself, international NGOs, and others collecting ID data of missing people. making interviews with survivors, family members or neighbors regarding massacres during 98-99. Before I started to do this job, I visited the Institute of History in Kosovo, an archive of Kosovo, and asked them what they had done to do a documentation of what took place during 98 and 99, or what they were planning to do. But their answers surprised me. The two directors told me at the time, more than 6 years after the war, that they still had no resources to conduct a research and were basically told not to do anything about the matter. So they urged me to start up documenting as soon as possible, before information and data vanished and crucial witnesses died. They even wrote a recommendation for my project. They said no one could stop me since I was a foreigner or an international. So therefore I took on this very special job, and it took 5 years, and it ended up with 2 books and a documentary film that show where and when civilians were killed, and they also shed light on the victim's identity. You can find the documentation on my webpage that I will show you later. Because when you leave now, you will receive a gift from me. A t-shirt like this, a book, one of my books, and my card. There you will find all documentation. In order to conceal evidence of war crimes shortly before UNMIK took over responsibility in the summer of 99, many mass graves had been reopened in Kosovo, and thousands of dead Albanians were transported hundreds of kilometers northwards towards Serbia. They were doing this by trucks. And they were dumped into new hidden mass graves. Some of those locations can be seen on this chart I have on the screen here. And one of the places that is most known is the place in Batanica. It is a former camp for military or police, I understood. The events that disclosed this total operation of transporting dead peoples into Kosovo, into Serbia, and try to hide them. It was disclosed before a transport of dead people ended up in Danube River a truck had an accident and drove into the Danube River, and the local police found dead Albanians in the truck. And this was the 7th of April, 1999. Here you see one of the trucks they used. And it must have been hundreds of them they used in order to transport thousands of dead bodies from south to north. These following high-ranking politicians and military leaders were found guilty of planning, aiding, and abetting, so that 10,600 Albanian civilians, children, women, and men, had to suffer a terrible death. They were found guilty and sentenced to jail for many, many years. So the figure here contains 5 of them, from former Yugoslav Deputy Prime Minister Sanovic. He got 22 years in prison. Nebojša Pakovic, 22 years. Serbian Police General Lukic, 22 years. 4th Army General Vladimir Lazarevic, 15 years. And Chief of General Staff Drago Odanic, 15 years. It must have been quite a sort of charges they were faced in Hague when they end up with 22 years in jail. And people that witnesses these proceedings in Hague, they were shocked. 1 month ago, this article was in the newspaper VG in Norway. It is one of the leading newspapers in Norway. You can see here Pakovic and Lazarevic back in September 2000, I think it was. I found it fascinating, this article. The newspaper tells about a massive and logistically complex operation after the war. Thousands of dead Albanians were found in many separate graves, mass graves, hundreds of kilometers from Kosovo. General Lazarevic, he was sentenced to, as we saw, 15 years in prison. He was early released after 2/3 of his sentences was done. He was released, and then one of the things that surprised me the most was he was promoted to a position as teachers at the military academy in Serbia. After they also promoted a former criminal, war crime criminal, to be a teacher for the younger generation of military in Serbia. That I found astonishing. Many leading politicians and other officials, both in Serbia and abroad, view this promotion of a war crime convicted military general as lecturer and teacher for the next generation of officers and soldiers as a mockery of all victims of war crimes committed in Kosovo, their families, and the international justice system. You cannot just appoint a former military war criminal to teach today's youth about the laws and rules of the war. Most of all, because he didn't follow these same rules and laws during his own service. And he has shown no remorse or repented of his grossly criminal behavior. Now we go over to the still missing war crime victims in Kosovo. So the first part was these long introductions. There are many families in Kosovo and Serbia today still waiting for the bodies of their loved ones who were killed in Kosovo during 98-99 to be discovered. We are talking about 1,669 bodies or remains that still have to be found. Of them are 400 Serbians and 1,269 Albanians. These families are still suffering because they cannot put the death of their family members or friends behind them because they have no grave to go to. So, what can we do with this? Which element weigh in when it comes to reconciliation and forgiveness? How can we move from today's situation? Current and former activities initiated by UNMIK and EULEX or other authorities related to the process of reconciliation have had little, if any, impact. What are the elements that they seem to have missed? This initiative will focus on these shortcomings, primarily by identifying the essential parts of restoration that potentially can lead to reconciliation and forgiveness. First element is no doubt the importance of finding the still missing civilian victims, probably buried in some mass graves somewhere. The affected families have already been suffering way too long. The second element is the coming forward of perpetrators and possible witnesses to war crimes committed involving these 1,600 people still missing. Soldiers, police officers, or other that committed or witnesses war crimes also suffer psychologically from the impact of their actions. The orders given by their military and political leaders at the time led or forced them to commit war crimes. And that was probably a very difficult situation to be in. In order to find the remaining victims in Kosovo or Serbia, we need cooperation from the soldiers, police officers and paramilitary personnel, or civilians, who, in order from superior officers and political leaders, committed war crimes. Witnesses that happened are also witnesses to what happened are also in an agonizing situation. Due to the non-disclosure agreement in effect during wartime, they have been struggling by themselves with the burden of their involvement, not having been able to talk about their war experiences can result in psychological and physical strains. Perpetrators and witnesses who know where we can find unidentified graves or places with victims of the war 98-99 can contact us on this webpage. It's a webpage we have opened where the whole documentation that I did, 2 books and a film, you can load down from this webpage, and you can study it for yourself and find out what I have discovered and documented. And you can place that up to what you have heard others telling about what took place in Kosovo. So that's my way to try and enlighten people, especially the younger generation. They need to have this kind of information. There is a contact us on this picture, you can see in black there in the middle. If you go in there, you can find email addresses or phone numbers you can use in order to inform if you have information to share with us. The third element is the grave suffering of the younger generation in Serbia and Kosovo, because the political establishment in both countries, Serbia and Kosovo, have shown an incompetent leadership dealing with the situations after the war. The losers of this is the youth in Serbia and Kosovo, who face limited access to jobs, traveling, educational opportunities, either home or abroad, mainly due to the political leaders' inability to solve conflicts of interest. The younger generation themselves can make a difference here. They can encourage a discussion on how to solve the problem with the missing war victims. They have fathers and grandfathers who participated here. There were hundreds of thousands of Serbs inside Kosovo in these 18 months, and many of them know what took place. If they can open their mouths and tell their story and inform us on our webpage, we will appreciate that very much, and it will gain the youth here in Serbia and Kosovo. Serbia's missing contemporary history. Well, it's a special line, but there are something missing. in Serbia's contemporary history. I have said contemporary history is more than talking about differences in opinion. It is about telling the truth. The lack of information about contemporary history related to Kosovo 98-99 is tied to the notion that we have done nothing wrong, and those who say otherwise are traitors. So that's the notion. So then it's hard for people to come up and inform about things they know, because they will be treated as traitors. Every democratic country striving to improve economically or normal living standard for its people needs an opposition and plurality of views concerning events that take place. And it comes to describing the actual situation and historical events. If the current political system subdues expressions it doesn't like, the dynamics of allowing plurality of opinions will be absent, and thus result in statements and opinions that validity have not been tested. Statements and opinions that have not been tested are worthless in a normal world. There are some people, few people in Serbia from the early 1990s who acted as whistleblowers and took a stand and confronted Milosevic's regime concerning its policies and the atrocities committed. Some of these people were the following. The first one was Mirko Kovac, a Yugoslavian author who wrote a critical article regarding Milosevic's policies in the magazine Srpska Reč in May 1992. You will find his article in my second book. The next one is Natasha Kandic, a human rights activist, founder and former executive director of the Humanitarian Law Center from 1992 here in Belgrade. Then you have Sonja Biserko, a former Yugoslavian diplomat for over 20 years, a human rights activist from 1991, after resigning from her position as a diplomat at the United Nations in Geneva due to Milosevic's policies. Book written by Sonja Biserko is called Yugoslavia's Implosion. It has subtitles called The Fatal Attractions of Serbian Nationalism. I think she couldn't have it published here in Serbia, so the Norwegian Helsinki Committee published that book for her and spread it. Svetlana Đorđević, she was a former taxi driver in Kosovo Polja, in Kosovo, between 1995 and 1999. Based on her diaries, she wrote a book called Testimony About Kosovo, which was translated into Norwegian under the name of Helmonten in 2008. Following the book's publication in Serbia, and an interview in the television B92, she experienced massive harassment, also by Serbian police, which in turn made her seek asylum in Norway in 2004. All these people made a substantial contribution towards enlightening the public about where they were branded as traitors. They were doing a job informing and enlightening, but they were branded as traitors. They have not been recognized to this day. In my opinion, their work regarding documentation and political awakening for over 20 years should be part of the curriculum in schools. One thing that strikes me when I look at this is the list of names, is that women are well represented. They have demonstrated a high degree of civil courage in a turbulent time. That was my oral presentation. Now we will see part 3, that is the documentary, the unidentified. When the film starts, you can go behind, have coffee and drinks, and come back and watch the film. Thank you for your attention.
Mi smo mislili da se radilo o saobraćajnoj nezgodi i pristupili smo vršenju uviđaja. Prvo saobraćajna policija, a posle su oni videli da se ne radi o saobraćajnoj nezgodi, već da je to nešto sasvim drugo.
Ustanovili smo da je se slučaj stvarno desio, da je u rečeno vreme na području sela Tekija isplivala hladnjača.
Tela su bila već u fazi saponifikacije. Smrad se osjećao. Ja mislim do Tekije da se osjećao. Izuzetno grozno izgledalo to.
Ta tela iz Ljubenića, zbog kojih sam ja i u opasnosti, i bez razumevanja od igde ikog.
Prvi put sam dobio naređenje od mog neposrednog starešine, Dragića Nenadića, koji mi je tom prilikom rekao da je obavio razgovor sa generalom Zekovićem,
naređeno je da se uviđaj obustavi i da se pripreme ti leševi za transport.
I rekao mi je da se snađem preko svojih prijatelja, da pronađem neki kamion, da obavim jedan zadatak koji je vrlo važan i u interesu je za državu.
Nešto od tih tela je stiglo i u Beograd.
Përfundimisht mas 2 vjetë ka ardhur lajmi se u gjet Batanica.
Došli smo do saznanja da je slučaj proglašen državnom tajnom jer se ceo slučaj zatvori za javnost.
Jag planerar att få mig tid. I ett moment nu kommer jag nog med planen. Det näst kommer inte att mitt gå, det mitt gjorde med planen. Att det gjorde med na på så här planen att få mig en dobs.
Leti preko nebeskih visina, krila su joj Morava i Drina. Zbogom leto, jesen i zimu, odlazimo da se ne vratimo. To, dokle mi idu sećanja i što je ugravirano u mene, to su te srpske pesme, taj patriotizam. Ko to sinoć kroz Topolu prođe, pevaj Srbijo, zemlju junaka, rado Srbin ide u vojnike. Tako da kad je 97. bila, kad sam već staso napunio po zakonu 18 godina, odlučio sam da se prijavim dobrovoljno, da odem, da vratim, kako se to kaže, da služim vojsku u svom narodu. To je bila velika čast. Ja mislim u celoj Srbiji, a na Kosovu posebno. I tako sam dospio 97. decembra u kasarnu Kosovski junaci u Prištini. Jedna moćna kasarna sa 5000 mladih vojnika svako jutro nas motri. Bio sam raspoređen kao pripadnik vojne policije, specijalne namene na oklopnom transporteru. I zato su me obučavali mesecima.
Ja sam boravkom u Srpskoj dobrovoljačkoj gardi upoznao neke ljude. To je bio jedan dobar momak, on je poginuo na Kosovu, policajac. I čuli smo se tako često.
Formaciji, razmak, fino.
I 98. čuo sam s njim i on kaže, ajde dođi ovamo, jer je frka i dobro bi došlo, znaš, da dođeš kod nas i tako malo da se i pomogne i to. Ja sam otišao, to je bio početak 98. I dole sam zadužio pušku, uniformu, sve, dao dokumentaciju normalno svoju, zadužio i ušao u rezervni sastav posebne jedinice policije.
Tada je počeo, nešto je počelo da se dešava. Znam da su nam naredili da izađemo na teren i tokom cijele 98. godine, o čemu se u Srbiji jako malo zna, ja sam ratovao protiv Šiptara.
Gdje god smo krenuli da i razbijemo, tu smo i razbili, to je u bezbroj bilo akcija. Razbili smo i pobjedili, znači i vjerovatno smo za njih bili strah i trepet. I tu sam bio sve do kraja 98. kad sam se demobilisao, jer je tad već i završilo to neka, kako bi ja nazvao, frka. Dole sam upoznao jednu djevojku s kojom sam se oženio i imam 2 djece s njom, ona je iz Peći. I tako da sam ostao dole da živim.
Today, our armed forces joined our NATO allies in airstrikes against Serbian forces responsible for the brutality in Kosovo.
Bio sam kući, gledao televiziju, kad na TV-u javlja bombardovan aerodrom u Prištini i odmah sam znao da smo napadnuti, da je rat počeo. Ja sam se zadužio, kao i ostali pripadnici kojima se sudi, zadužili smo oružje kod vojske Jugoslavije. Svaka jedinica, vjerujte, i grupe, oni su svi bili stavljeni pod komandu vojske i svi su morali da rade šta kaže vojska ili policija.
Bilo je pometkanje ljudstva. Svaki čovjek je bio značajan. Tako je i došlo do ulaska nekog broja ljudi koji očigledno po svojoj strukturi, po svojoj prošlosti je bio rizičan da se primi u takve odrede.
Mi smo bili na radio vezu Šakal. Znači Šakal 1, Šakal 2.
Šakali su se oformili prvi dan, 25. marta. Zašto? Zato što su se već poznavali iz rata u Bosni i Hrvatskoj, iz policijskih formacija gdje su ovdje zajedno ratovali. Vrlo mudro su se sakupili. I ja sa njima. Bio sam najmlađi u toj jedinici, bio sam klinac od mrtvog.
Nebojša Minić mrtvi. On mi je bio komandir voda. I njega je tu neko postavio. Ko je njega tu postavio? Ja ne znam.
Naravno, to je bio čovjek koji je bio predratni kriminalac, organizovao jednu ad hoc grupu sa kojom je pravio određene zločine, koji su ga smatrali komandantom, a nigde u komandnoj strukturi on nije postao evidentiran kao komandir voda, niti bilo čega drugog.
On je bio u Arkanovoj gardi. I onda je stiglo izveštaj da je poginuo, pa mu je bilo i dvorenje u Peći, onda se valjda vratio kući gdje dvore ispred njegove slike. Tako je dobio nadimak mrtvi. Niko drugi u gradu nije smeo da me zaustavi, da me pita za zdravlje, da me pita odakle mi vozilo, gdje idem, šta radim, ili jesam li ušao u neku kuću ili nisam. Jedini kome smo odgovarali bio je komandant mrtvi.
To je bio čovjek kome komandne strukture nisu smele ili nisu mogle da narede, a sa druge strane niko od njegovih podređenih nije smeo da mu se suprotstavi niti ne izvrši njegovo naređenje.
Zamisli sad 6. i 7. dan rata. Seda tako jedno 15 šakala, 5-6 vozila, vozi se 7 kilometara, Peć, Dečane put, skrene, selo je sa desne strane puta, onako gorštačko gore malo u planini, ima džami u centru sela i tako se uđe unutra, mrtvi kaže sve da se ćeraju, da se love Nemci, to su komande, taj je žargon korišćen. Od koliko kume, pita ga kum Siniša, kaže od 13 do 70. Kaže 3, onda onako 13, Malerozan od 12, ha, 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 ha. tako se uđe, 8 sati ujutro, lep dan, baš je dan bio lep, ja pamtim taj lep dan.
Në tonë rejten vi shkushtar një me litara, të kuq në dorë, edhe 2 bumë në dorë. Apo hec, sa ti qytet është 2 bumë, edhe po të kuq për të mirë skajt.
I tako se to istera iz kuća, one kolone, oni šta će ko ovce na klanje, nema pogubljeno, ne zna, zastrašeno.
E kom këthuj kryt, që aty s'muna s'mi përmenu, kom këthuj kryt e kom po, që ma ka bo me dorë hec. Hec e ke kështa me thminë se për veti për disi për shkaj. Vish thminë kështa, që aty s'muna mi. I kujtu gjatë ditës.
Sjetit će se ti šiptari, ako je neko preteko iz Ljubenića, imali su jednog tog starijeg, da li je bio plemenski starešina, seoski. Izašao je čovjek sa čulafom, imao je onaj... Izašao je rekao, što upadate ovdje kao kriminalci? Kao razbojnici. Izašao ispred njih 100. Mi nikada nismo pravili problem srpskoj državi. Nikada ovdje policija nije imala problem. I priča ta starina.
Moshatarimi ka qenë një u boshati o quj ka thonë bashkët I kriminalit. Mos edhe na merr një qafa, ne jemi fshatar turta, probleme s'kemi pas kur këtu me Serbë më lezez.
I nije završio I mrtvi ga onako...
Që atëherë ka thonë që I Bullatoviqi. Se deja që atëherë ati që ka një zoni. Që atëherë tha, edhe mu që ke, tha, më ka zbrit, tha, vëllam, tha, pi trenit, e sët dhe tha këmerem një u.
Pridružile su mu se još 3 cevi. Nas 30, pucale su 3 cevi.
Ka pas para, mase poshte nert, asi polici është të mirë, po para neve, para turme, vetën 3 në kunë. Njoni ka pas një trak bardh, në morë të majtë, që aj mrtvi që po flite që ovdje, sartë e vërtes, qa di une?
Čuješ krike, gomila apsurdno razbacanih udova, noga ovde, nečija glava ovde, krklja, krv, uzdah, ropac, samrtni. To traje, to trta, kida.
Unë për veti, qëtë moment ku mundu në shpecime e këtu I shpinën më rëdru, po në këthim ka kap 2 kushtu. Jem ra, ka plej gjak I madhë, kujtë kom pas një vi, s'kom pas dhinë të madhe. Gjo me pjeskamat, sa më I ke. Kush pipi dhimë të nda që keshin.
Imam tu neku scenu, jedan je bio u kožuhu, stariji Albanac, seljak. Jedno dete ovako, da ga on sakrije. Ono metak vari, do 3 će da probuši. Kako da ga sakriješ?
Kanë hesh një herë, dikur kanë shama se na jeta për masa. Dikur shka kanë gjuhën, dhe ke Arnautsku majku, dikur shka Albansku majku.
Ulazi u to brdo seljaka, gde je još nečiji uzdah, gazi po njima. Noga mu beži od posrće I u svaku vidljivu glavu overava. Gasi.
Janë hinë dhe për truqa pet, kanë verifiku që o gjalla pet I ka ra kryj aty që me kryjt.
Dakle, jedan totalan užas.
Kanë kryj qefin aty të mas nej, ka vetëm heshte atë son I kush. Me një të ndjerin ta që kom pas kryjt teshin, me të I kanë ra fati mu, ka dasht. E jam sot qëtu.
Kad su ovi utihnuli tu, kad je to pobio, ja idem uz minaret, me vuče pogled I kažem, Bože mili, kako lep dan. Stvarno bio lep dan. A dole ne smijem I da pogledam.
që të krejt kësesojde, edhe atje, edhe qashtu e që atje, edhe që atje, e që ka që janë konë plët burra. E burri o konë qëto? Burri.
Poslao je mrtvi mene lično da odem do Dulije, do diskonta pića, da uzmem 2 gajbe piva, ožednelo se. Tako, popismo po pivo i ajde kući.
Këtu fshati adet ku kanë kryer masakrën kanë gjetur edhe me topa këtu në bjesh shpat. Ka pas një gjallë atje, artilleri në marrën ushtria, armët e rënda i marrën policia. Këto që ka qenë kombinim për 3 për i këtyne, paramilitarë, policisë dhe armatë Jugoslavë.
Tonë emrat e këtyne jenë qëtë që. Edhe në Shqipni, po kujmë shku në Gjakov, u lëdhëm, sa as pa hëmë, as pa pi. E në Gjakov, këm desh të him Gjakov me hini par ploci, si shkon si livall. Tim Gjakovs i shkon një si disko, s'ka deri që kona i nuk e di, aty plët ushtri e polici. Tu i festu. A që ka konë nuk e di, a i në tirat policis po shqip nga foli me neve, me një kërtë kuq. Në ka thonë qërë, tha, nese flenin, tha në Gjakov, tha sonë, tha nese ka me prita masakra mëllë në Gjakov.
Sva sela glavnog puta od Peći do Đakovice sa desne strane su ostala očišćena. Zato što je preneta najbolja propaganda. Od uveta do uveta. Te žene su pričale šta se desilo Ljubeniću. Nakon događaja u Ljubeniću, mrtvi je sedeo s jednim generalom. Dobar general koji nema veze sa tim Ljubenićem, nego se zadesio pa je bila priča. I sa tog aspekta su ove 2 glave, generalska i od mrtvog, pričale i ne može se to osporiti. Da je to po njima najbriljantnija akcija jer su Šiptari ostali bez jataka. Očišćena je jedna celo, znači gotovo, nema više gde da se okrepi, nema. I to je onda postalo etničko čisto područje. Rekao je mrtvi, ajde, akcija, pakujte se. Namaže se lice garom i zauspuh. Potrpa smo se u vozilo na 5 kilometara od Peći, selo desne strane puta ka Prištini.
Ata nuk harrohet kur. Mëngjes, po u qu krejt familja, diku 7 e gjys, kanë qit me arme nelt kryt katunin.
Ušlo se u selo i po već uigranom scenariju ista priča.
Negdje stvarno se čuli pucnje. Poneka kuća i gorla. Oni su vjerovatno već znali, imaju oni straže, imaju sve da vojska i policija dolazi. Oni su bježali.
I kanë da femnet pe i burrave, edhe mekanizma pleçkit. Por Jugoslavit si kanë marrë. Vile po šprene që shka thonë, šta će me ovo
Mrtvi opet, samo njegovog mu znanog razloga, Ave Cezar. Nikad se nije znalo šta će mrtvi da niti je ko mogao da mu čita misli i postupke. On je rekao da izađe taj. Bio je upadljivo mlađi momak.
Në gjuhën serbe, tha, ti mund që tha, dozhje vamo. Edhe e kom kuptuar që në gjuhën e tyne kam thënë që tha, kemi mbledh tha, gjitha paret, tha, mirë po tha, jo paret të Jugosllavisë, dinarët të Jugosllavisë, tha vetëm tha devizë tha më mjep, tha.
Tako je mali pretekao kolonu za streljanje.
Këtyre i gazhve e ka qelë zëstojnë. Këtu jem hina që sejde, kjo shtëpia nuk o konë hiq, e marume, veç ajo o konë.
Pod prevarom da se čeka da dođe policija, da se legitimišu, ne kaže im se idete da se streljate.
Qka e konë? Kur jem hi me dur ma shafe që sejde.
Uveli se u kuću i šta će tu, nijedna puška nije pucala na nas. Ne, ja teroristu nisam vidio. Niti je video jedan od šakala tog dana. Nego seljak u seljak.
Qërë këtu, kur kanë gjujt qërë plumat. I unë i nënti, kur jem gërmus me ma shkrebzën kështu, a i ka gjujt, unë jem dalë që sejde, për që dritare, që telat ku jenë. Që tu që jem dalë që telat ku jenë, i kom kalu telat e jem shku në lugat Bistricë. Qëtu të jem djegë, unë si jem pështua, që kjo fitanëve.
Poshtë në oborin e Demgashit, e shtëpi ka qenë të djegë e Ademit, të ka pas shumë gra dhe fëmi. Se kanë qenë në dy grupet ndame. Pastaj më kanë marrë për i këturit, më kanë qitë nesto, edhe dikush me ta ka full sërbjesht.
Kad je jedna grupa streljala 15 ljudi, zapalila ih, kad su se vraćali, gle ovaj još živ. I taj jedan vojnik, ja stoji u pisu u sudu, i uperio cev u njega da ga, gde je mrtvio prega, neka ga. Znači na sam metak, neka ga. Neka ga da ima ko sutra šiptarima da priča o on. I kad je došao tužilac, kod mene, kad sam odlučio da popriča, ja sam baš pitao je li živ taj, je li živ, jer tad sam želeo da preživi taj mali.
Unë ima e 16 vjeçari që kanë dash me mra dhe kanë thonë që jo, kjo duhet me pështu për me tregu në tarë nëse çfarë krimi kemi bo këtu.
Razlog koji sam kasnije čuo odlaska u to selo jeste zato što je to selo tadašnjeg njihovog ratnog komadanta, gospodina Agima Čekova. I Miša Kali, tačnije mrtvi još tu neko ko je. Smo mu zaklali i oca, i strika, i ne znam, i poveravali ih u glavu i još pride za kaznu ubili jedno 50-ak seljana.
Mi smo to tad zvali čišćenje terena. To je znači pretres kuća, terena, šuma i tako. Ja čak nisam ni znao da je od Agima Čekova otac tu. Ja za ta ubistva ne znam. Znači ne znam, niti sam i vidio.
šakali su prošli kroz Pavljan, kasnije kroz Zahać. Naravno smo ostavili krvavi trag za sobom.
Poštovani građani, agresija je završena. Mir je nadvladao nasilje. Dragi građani, srećan nam mir.
Nakon završetka rata formacija Šakali izlazi sa narodom. Povlače se. Imao je mrtvi neke vizije da se vraćamo i da ratujemo gerilski, međutim, kad se došlo do Budve, nikom se nije vraćalo. Kad se skinulo u šorceve za kupanje. A i imalo se nešto novca, po znacima navoda, ušteđeno. Šakali su bili firma koja je poslovala tako kako je poslovala. I tada odlazimo za Crnu Goru, gde dobijamo kontakte od predstavnika njihove vlade da se jedna takva grupacija ljudi naoružana, jer išli smo grupno kroz Crnu Goru i u Nikšić bi živeli, da se stavi pod kontrolu, pa su nas zvali da pristupimo crnogorskoj specijalnoj policiji, što je mrtvi odbio, a Ranko Bosanac je prihvatio, gde je došlo do podele prvi put, da se jedinica podelila, jer su neki bivši šakali tad otišli u crnogorski specijal.
Pred dolazak toga KFOR-a, ja sam otišao, oni su došli u ponedeljak, ja sam u nedelju otišao 13. Idem sa ženom, znači za Pljevlja. I tamo se prijavljujem u policiju crnogorsku, gdje počinjem za jedno 10-ak dana i da radim. Kad su vidjeli kako radim svoj posao, prebacimo interventnu jedinicu policije u Pljevlju.
Ja sam ostao uz mrtvog i kasnije, pošto nije hteo da pređe kod njih, mrtvom je upala crnogorska policija u kuću i tako dalje. On je pobegao za Srbiju, a mene su uhapsili sa oružjem u gepeku i bio sam 9 meseci u istražnom zatvoru u Spužu, u Crnoj Gori. Kasnije sam pušten iz zatvora bez oslobađajućeg optužbe. Dakle, mi smo otišli u Crnu Goru i tu smo se zabavljali, prodavali to što smo imali. Sećam se tih 300 pasoša koji su uzeti iz Pečkog SDK kad su svi napustili Peć, ostali su pasoši. Pa je mrtvi uzeo i te pasoše. Jedan pasoš je išao 2000 maraka, tad bez problema. Smo imali mašinu za kucanje i markice i sve. I kasnije, kad sam izašao iz zatvora, dolazim u Beograd, tu je već mrtvi, imao i kuću i naravno počinjem da živim sa njim.
Kër më hina ata komësërimet 12 qershor, unë me 13 nuk marrë vllani i marrë. E kom pa krejt Bo me katastrofë këtë vend. Jem dalë për atë xhamia, konfiskat, a kush i gjallë. A o mes kush i gjallë në Libenic. Asë një kofom se këshim palonë.
Tužilac je tu dosta zataškavao stvar i nisu pokupili sve podatke koji su bili potrebni, ali utvrđeno je da su tela ostala na licu mesta kad su pobijeni nekoliko dana i da su posle naredili komunalnim preduzećima da idu i pokupe ih i sahranjuju na groblju u peći. To su oni uradili. Međutim, posle nekoliko dana oni su otišli i izvukli iz grobova ta tela.
Tu je bilo nešto preko 80 leševa. Ja ne mogu da se setim tačno koliko je bilo. Što kaže, nisam ih ni brojao, da budem iskren. Sudije su otišli, tužioci su otišli, ostali smo mi kao operativci da to odradimo po instrukciji koju smo primili normalno od nadležnih starešina, od MUP-a, jer bez MUP-a ništa nije moglo da se odradi. Kriminalistički i tehničari su ušli unutra, u hladnjaču, znači oni se nalazili tamo, izvlačili leš po leš, tovarili na ćebe ili čašav, onda se to kroz ovaj tunel iznosilo. Kamioni su bili parkirani na ovaj lokalni put, kategorisani najbliže otvoru kuda su prenošeni leševi. I tu su tovarani, odatle normalno posle išli, otišli svojim putem. To je sanacija terena sa Kosova. Jedinice sve kad su se vraćale sa Kosova dolazile su gore u Petrovom selu, u taj centar MUP-a. Oni su svi dolazili. Najvjerojatnije da je i taj hladnjača tada uz pratnju policije došla do ovde. Oni nastavili za Petrovo selo, ono u Dunavu.
All of our reports get released into the public through the media and on the website, of course. But in this case, we also sent it directly to the Serbian government. We sent it to different offices of the government. We sent it to the prosecutor of the War Crimes Court. And I would like to think that this helped to instigate or spark the investigation and the trial. You know, I think having the photographs with the names made it too difficult to ignore. And it was clear that the War Crimes Court had to investigate some crimes in Kosovo. They had to. And, you know, when you've got photos and names, then, you know, anyone would ask, well, what are you doing with this? So, you know, I don't know for sure, but I would like to think that it started a process. But I use the word process.
Tu je bilo, ne nas 10 koliko nas sudi, tu je bilo 150, 200 vojnika i policajaca. Našli su samo za shodno da pohapse nas 10 i da kažu to su oni sve uradili, oni treba da sude. I NN lica, ova NN lica, da li su oni nešto radili, to njih ne interesuje, ali su NN lica neka bila.
Dakle, niko ne može da kaže da zločina nije bilo. Bio je zločin. Dogodio se na delu civilnog stanovništva muškog, koji je u nekakvoj akciji za koju se, evo, sad ćemo odmah reći činjenicu koju sud smatra utvrđenom, koja se nije utvrdila. Kakav je bio karakter te akcije? Da li je ta akcija naređena, planirana, neplanirana? A mi tvrdimo da je to ad hoc akcija jedne grupe ljudi koja se okupila oko takozvanog mrtvog ili Nebojše Minića, za koga smatraju da je sad konačno, da nije među živima, da je negde u Argentini umro od AIDS-a.
Da je mrtvi ostao živ, ja bi u svojoj lojalnosti, koju ne mogu da objasnim niti da opišem, iako danas ništa njegovo ne opravdava, iako kažem da je to jedan fanatik i poremećeni um, ali da je ostao živ, ja ne bi svedočio.
Nažalost, njega nema na sudu. U njegovom odsustvu došlo je do deformacije, proširenja oblika odgovornosti i širenja ka mnogim ljudima koji nisu trebali da se obuhvate ovom optužnicom. A cilj svega toga je da se pokaže koliko je to masovan zločin. Zašto je ovo sve potrebno? Predimenzioniranje zločina. To je potrebno zbog toga što se sada vodi jedna međunarodna akcija u kojoj Srbija treba da bude pasivna i da se pasivizira tim strahom od zločina koji je napravljen, povećavanjem stepena tog zločina, u smislu da Srbiji treba da se pokaže, evo, vršili ste zločine, naravno da su Albanci morali da proglase samostalnu državu i vi se to samostalnu državu treba da na vašoj teritoriji priznate.
I am totally convinced from our research that this was an organized operation. There is no way in those conditions at the time for a random or rogue unit to have entered this village with such a coordination and have committed these crimes without being part of a larger organizational strategy. There's no question in my mind. What happened here is not very different from what happened in villages all across Kosovo. You know, we focused on Čuška because we had the powerful testimony of survivors and the photos. But Čuška could be one of hundreds of villages around Kosovo. And we saw the same patterns with the army controlling the perimeter and then ground forces from the police or mixed, and exactly which forces is difficult because during the NATO bombing, there was such a mixing and melding of orders and crossing of the operational responsibilities, but still clear order and control. My frustration now is the inability, or I would say even the unwillingness of the war crimes prosecutor to follow the evidence up the chain of command. Srečko Popović and Kastratović and these others are sacrificial lambs. They're sacrifices of the senior officials of that time who have powerful connections even today. It doesn't mean they're not guilty of crimes. I think they committed crimes. But did they give the orders? Were they a part of the strategic thinking and the overall planning that went into Čuška and hundreds of villages around Kosovo? No.
Čovjek postavi se pitanje kako svoju djecu da vaspitava. Da li da ih vaspitava ko što je mene moj otac? Sine, brani svoju zemlju, pušku pa je brani. Ako je ko napadne. Kako ja svoju da ne vaspitavam djecu? Brani, sine, svoju zemlju da bi sutra mogu u zatvor da ideš 20 godina i 15 i da te maltretiraju.
Pa drejt. Nuk kanë bukur gjohë dhe na lejojnë neve të shkojnë t'ja mysim krejt familjen, dhe të ndënun 20 vjetë, unë i moj ato 20 vjetë. Veç që të më lejojnë shkojnë t'ja mysin në familjen e tyne, Le të mdenojnë 20 vjetë, unë i moj 20 vjetë borë.
Ono što ne smijem da dozvolim jeste da se ovakve stvari rade. A kako to da ne dozvolim? Jedino ako pričam o njima, da se stekne neka svijest o tome. Ne da vičem šta su Šiptari radili. Znam šta su radili. Nego da kažem šta smo mi uradili. Pa će možda neko kod njih da pali svijest. Jer ako nam ostane ova klica mržnje, a mi se opet poklasmo.